Let's get over the club, Shay. The man of seals.
Yeah, you got to keep it nice. She's slow, so.
And she's a black woman. Whoa.
Don't say nothing mean.
She's a black woman.
About the big R community.
And as a black woman, I feel like, you handle those the best. So you should probably just leave.
Yeah, kick us off, man.
Yeah, kick us off. Like, we got to extend them a certain amount of grace because they are one of the most unprotected creatures.
Classes.
Creatures
is crazy.
And
man.
I don't even.
Holy shit.
You know
Whoa!
what I mean?
I'm not even gonna. Beings. So
We're all
basically,
spiritual beings. We're beautiful creatures.
yeah, I bet, nigga.
Okay.
Yeah, wait.
When have you used creature as a negative connotation?
Oh my god!
When
you
I
just
think
called
of
him a creature.
when I think of Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, when I think of a ghoul.
Oh, you asshole. Creatures are creations.
But she is a beautiful soul who's been through a lot of pain. I didn't know what to expect because after everything had already came out about it.
So many
after
clips.
I watched it.
Yeah, right.
So
right,
I had already had some
It went
preconceived
so
thoughts.
viral before you even went into it.
And so I'm like, okay, like I guess I'm just gonna find the moment where he spoken out of turn or like
and then she
just went
flipped
crazy
from there. Yeah, right.
And that's kind of what happened. But you had watched it before and you had kind of told me about it. You were correct.
Yeah.
Like they were both in the wrong, but Shannon was doing too much.
Really?
Too much?
You gotta understand
At the beginning until she flipped.
At the beginning until she flipped.
Yeah.
If I invite somebody over, like there's a certain level of humbleness. It's a certain way you have to act to where like he was trying to be a journalist instead of an interviewer. You get what I mean? Like
Break down the difference.
he's trying to actually
what's the difference?
He's actually can I talk? He's actually trying to like, okay, so that happened, but could you see it happening it this way? Or would you like, what about if you look at it from this perspective? It's like, none of that was really necessary. Like him trying to question what she went through, how she took it, it's not necessary.
Okay.
Necessary. You get what I mean? Okay. So I get where she's coming, especially like, it's like knowing her.
And it wasn't even a whole lot of them. It was like, in particular, at the beginning, it was two specific stories to her, like her childhood. Like the childhood experience of the racist thing in the room, like this is how you took it. Like
so basically it was one situation where the good old, talking too much in class, her parents get called, they ended up going down there.
Yeah.
And she's
correcting the teacher.
Correcting the teacher thing. And Shannon said, well, you know how adults are when kids talk, like, are you sure it was about race? You know what I mean? Like, are you sure it just wasn't about woody whoop whoop or, whatever the fuck you said?
Did you think that was a valid point that he brought up? Children are correcting adults?
Yes, but was it necessary?
It might not have been valid because of the context of what was happening with her and her being the only black person.
And how
her being this or whatever.
And how she brought it up is certain,
Whose job is it to explain the context of your trauma?
She did explain the context.
Was that before or after?
Before.
She explained
the context prior to, and then he came in with that. So the thing is, once she got triggered though, it started to turn into, I see why she's hard to work with. Like it turned into me also not liking her.
Exactly.
Even though he started
it was the craziest kind of shit. And that's my thing.
It was weird.
I don't go around expecting people to just understand the nuances of things that trigger me or my traumas or things that have happened to me.
Right.
So even if I explain it to you and it's like you say, well, let's look at it this way, that shouldn't. Should that destroy you?
And another thing,
that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Like you know how you feel about what you went through. Another person's perspective is that shouldn't shut you down.
But there is a thing where I correct you on something that you've done with me in a moment, and then you do that same thing the very next moment again, and now I'm like, nigga, didn't I just tell you about how this is supposed to go?
To what you said the other day, like if I'm venting to you, I don't need you to tell me like if I'm wrong in my venting. You know what I mean? Like, nigga, just listen to me vent in the context of this. Because it's not like she was venting. She was actually kind of just telling the story.
She was venting.
She was...
I don't know, though. Like, if I come to you and I'm venting, but I'm really tripping. You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you the story. You do the science like Danny. And it's like, nigga, but it don't really add up that way.
But it's also, like, it was her. And another thing, I think Shannon knew of her and met her, and another thing, he knew what to expect. That's kind of why he was trying to get in front of it, because he's heard these things about her. He's probably met her before.
Yeah.
He's probably
she's the one that actually set it up.
Because
Exactly.
he was speaking like he has a prior context or just like overall knowledge of how she could be as a person. So it was a lot of things where it's like, nah, you might be interpreted like this. He spoke like he knew her.
It didn't feel like
personally.
And it's not even conversations that they had. There were like hit pieces that were written about her across like articles and platforms where it's like people were taking the time, journalists were taking the time and writing actual articles saying she's hard to work with.
A lot of journalists was like taking the time out, and
like 5 big black media ones like Essence and all this other shit like that.
To your point, Lauren, like I feel you. Like I started to not like her too. But at the same,
it was weird because I started feeling like she's on the spectrum. I was like, you know what? She might be.
She's on the spectrum.
She is.
She's on the spectrum.
I can see it low key.
And you can see it in her eyes. Like it's a certain thing that happens. Like at first it just felt like she was, being animated and performing. But it's like she kind of looks at you like to see if her point landed.
Like the people who we visibly can see are on the spectrum act a certain way when certain actions are taken toward them. And they do that same reaction every time. And her shit, it might be something kind of like that. And I'm not trying to give her out because she still was on some shit where I'm like,
nah, she was still.
But I can see if it's true.
And it wasn't like the best interview, but there was the point of no return around like 20 minutes when she just stared at the nigga with like her fist on her chin.
Yeah.
Because it's like she just accepted like, okay, this is happening. I literally just told this nigga what I went through. And like you could tell like her gut was like,
because she thought she was walking into a safe space and she thought she was going to be able to, but she felt like he didn't give her a fair chance.
But it was weird because he was actually apologizing in that moment.
He was.
You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, this is an interview, and sometimes I'm going to say how I feel about what you're saying.
True.
This is my platform.
True.
No, but it's different.
I don't know. So this is how I feel about the whole thing. I feel like Amanda Seales is the problem, obviously. And I don't think Shannon Sharpe did anything wrong. And again, in the beginning, I didn't think there was anything wrong with him asking her to see it from a different perspective. I think her combativeness to him trying to have a conversation was ridiculous. Like, it's like, okay, yeah, we're having an interview, but this is also like a podcast, and you're closed off to having a conversation. He realized within the first 15, 20 minutes, oh, you just came on here because you just want to vent to me?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? Like, I didn't sign up for that. I have a job to do too. And if now that you and I can't even have a exchange conversation and you just really came here to fucking vent, we're already starting off on a bad foot because what's my purpose of being here?
I don't know if that's fair though. Kat and them just did the same thing.
I've always said it as a joke. But it's being proven true on this podcast. It's hard to tell a black woman something she doesn't already agree with.
Well, look, so back to Shannon Sharpe and Kat.
That's the
It's the
truth.
same shit.
Shannon Sharpe and Kat, they literally did the same thing.
It was
Like
the same shit.
he was just
Amanda Seales and
nigga was just venting.
Yeah.
And like
The same shit.
But
but I'll tell you exactly what the biggest difference was. The biggest difference was Cat Williams was going up there to correct everybody that came up there and had negative stories about him to prove them wrong. Amanda Seales was going up there to combat her likability into the complete opposite.
Aren't those negative stories about her though?
Same thing.
No, because people weren't going up to Club Shay to say Amanda Seales is a bitch. Amanda Seales did this to me. They were specifically doing that to Cat Williams. He was literally going up there to refute the lies that were said in the same seat that he sat on.
That's a different comparison.
Completely. Amanda Seales is going up there to combat
what everybody across the world was saying.
What the world is saying.
On all
she was
news.
fighting the industry,
Yeah.
and then she showed us why she's hard to work with, and she is a problem.
How many drops of like Monique syndrome did you count in there?
Oh God,
You know
they're
what?
both the
It's
same.
a certain mentality.
They're both the same.
It's a certain like I don't know.
I
avoid both of those women, just like that.
There's a
Straight
certain
up.
because it's funny, right? Like there's a certain way you probably have to be to get to that level, right? Like just
Talking about in terms of likability.
like well just
Confidence. You talking about
confidence in the way you act, like the vigorness to like how you go about doing shit. And I don't think what Amanda does or how she acts is any different from like any other of these crazy successful motherfuckers. Like everybody's pretty much kind of has their own crazy. Because Cat Williams is fucking crazy too.
For sure.
He's fucking crazy too.
For sure.
He might actually be.
Some people
Cat
are
Williams
more
had a-
accountable than others.
Cat Williams had a
Of course.
conversation, though.
So it was a conversation. I get what you're saying. She was venting a little bit more, and I do feel like Shannon could have helped steer the conversation outside of her just venting and like actually trying to have a conversation. Because there was points in time where like there's two ways you could take this. You can fight or you can expand. He chose the fight a lot of times instead of trying to expand the conversation and taking it farther. As far as like asking specifically what was going on in the classroom or like specific questions instead of going straight to, well, I mean, shit. Grown folks do grown folks thing.
Hindsight,
it's not even a...
Hindsight is 20/20 with that though, because technically with the question that he asked, it was an expansion of the overall conversation. Like, hey, maybe it was this instead of that. Problem is, she was just too closed off to anything.
But hold on,
She tricked y'all.
I can tell she got them. She got them.
It's not even that.
First of all, we're having a conversation. Don't say she got that. That means y'all losing. That means y'all losing.
We're still conversing. Exactly. And I'm saying I had to take myself out of it and try to look at it completely objective. I had to like sit down and be like, I don't know who this is. I just want to listen for a second and try to be objective. And he actually started the combative nature of the stuff. He started being combative when I'm telling you my memory, nigga. I'm telling you a memory.
Literally.
And you're going to be combative about my memory? It's like, that's not the same thing as having a conversation.
Let's be honest.
If we're gonna have a conversation, we can expand. We can even disagree within conversation. But I'm telling you a memory and something that may have happened within a memory for me at this moment. And I'm trying to tell you what happened in the past, and you're telling me, but it was this though. And I'm like, well, here's how it happened to me in the past.
And it's the little...
It's like, if I wrote a book in my story and you read my book and you were like, I read that in your book, but come on, like it was.
And like I said,
just because it's your memory doesn't mean that you have the accurate assumption on what happened.
Right.
But how can you? How can you? If it's not, how can you?
He didn't assume that. He just asked the question.
He just asked.
But him asking the question was offensive.
So here's the thing, though. A question can be a conversational piece, but there's also questions that come off in a defensive manner toward the other person that you're trying to portray as your. You know what I'm saying? Like,
now
if
we
I say
have
somebody,
to play the clip because the tone of the question that he asked
was not like
was
that.
Real, just on some like, hey Amanda, like, do you think it could have been? He's not a mean guy.
And I was about to say,
he doesn't
and on
say
top
anything
of that,
like, nigga, bitch, I want no racism. Like,
yeah,
what are you
and
talking
I was about to say,
about?
on top of that, like, let's think about all the Shannon outside of Amanda Seales. Shannon Sharpe has never really had the energy of combative.
Did he ever do that? Did he question?
He barely asked follow-up questions.
He barely.
It doesn't mean aggressive in nature of question. It just means the question that was asked after what was posed before.
And it's not necessarily. And Shannon, first of all, Shannon's a gentleman. It's never going to be tone.
Yeah, it's never that.
It's never going to be
not
like
tone. It's not that.
Like, Amanda, what the fuck?
But she replied to him with that energy.
And that's why I said
because there was a lot of nuance that he kind of started. Like, think about this. Okay. What could have been the purpose to that question? What was he trying to find? What was the other side of the coin that could have led to?
Where are we leading to? Yeah.
What?
It was a seat.
I think overall,
what it was him hearing what he heard about the industry, and him trying.
We don't know what he knows.
Let me talk.
We don't know what he knows.
Let me talk. And him trying. You already know where I'm going, but him trying to find out for himself.
You're saying his questions were shaped based off of things that he heard already.
Maybe.
Potentially.
But I did start this off with they were both in the wrong.
Yes.
When this whole started,
and I said the same shit. And
they were both in the wrong.
The same shit.
They're both in the wrong, but Shannon isn't some type of like nigga who just didn't do nothing. Like, no, you know who you're talking to because you heard these stories. You've heard how crazy she is.
The whole world has.
Literally.
Yeah.
And whether it was true or not, whether the journalist was lying, whether they were just, making the story bigger.
Yellow journalism.
Making the story bigger than what it is.
It's his job to have her in there and not have her feel any of that.
The thing is, though, I feel like even us in our interview career, somebody has probably said something on the show, and we've been like, nah, man, what if it was like that? Like, that happens.
But
because you're having a conversation.
Like, it's not combative to be challenged on your perception.
No, it's not.
That's not combative.
If let's say if I told a story and I was like my theme of my story was racism, but instead of like I have the perfect example, actually.
What's up?
Please.
Remember when I went to that thrift store in Raleigh And I was like, bro, I'm not spending no money here because my service was bad. And he was combating my entire point.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what kind of service do you want? Do you want top class service? Like, sound like you're being spoiled. Like, you were more, like, you
That's
were
what
doing
I'm
more
saying.
than, but we were having a conversation. But your position was more of combative to my experience there than even Shannon Sharpe's.
And that was actually combative
So-
because, like, at a certain point, you're not trying to understand. You're just trying to kind of make fun of what's going on in the situation.
No, I wasn't trying to make fun. Look, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, right? You're the interviewer. There's a certain amount of grace
Podcaster too.
And podcasting.
Because this is a podcast.
This podcast.
Which are conversations, not rant sessions.
Wasn't rants. And if we're being honest, everybody that comes on that show rants
I'm gonna say,
because
bro, like-
all he does is wait until they stop talking. All right, next question. That's so everybody rants. So let's not like act like not everybody gets on that fucking show
We're
and
being
rants.
completely
Ranting is
objective,
what are you
bro.
talking about?
60% of the guests
But
on
the-
Shay are ranting, and he's saying quips and one-liners and shit like that. After the
ranting is different.
Yeah,
this is somebody I fuck
hold on,
with.
real
You know what I'm
quick,
saying?
but real
I fuck
quick,
with him. So
ranting has a certain connotation. That means
does.
you were just rambling, talking about things
You're
that I haven't
emotionally,
asked you.
you're emotionally
But- okay,
unhinged.
it only
You're
took-
rant.
all over the
maybe
place.
not rant. Maybe not rant.
If you're expounding for a long wind
But-
on something
want-
I've
don't-
asked,
but the only
that's
time-
good
Hold
for
on.
an interview.
on.
I'm not supposed to be talking as much
So-
as you. You're my subject.
But
Yeah.
wait, I'm not supposed to say.
I'm not
sorry.
supposed to be talking as much as you. Like, ranting is when you just rambling on some random shit
It's
that I
emotionally
didn't even ask you.
unhinged.
So
But
who's
if
right?
I ask you a question and you're answering it for 5 minutes, that's a good interview.
But what I'm
Right,
saying,
right.
No, but
we've been
it's
giving him
also
that.
but it's also a part of like Shannon's job to control the ship.
You can't
Kinda-
control Amanda.
I
You
think
try
he
to
could've
control
controlled that.
Amanda,
Nah,
she's
he
gonna
could've-
lose her mind.
He could have controlled
Nah,
that.
he
You said
could have
she was
controlled
hard
it.
to work with.
He could have controlled it.
After watching how it expired, like I can see how that comes.
But he didn't
how that
talk to
becomes-
her. He didn't talk to her
So,
like a older elder. You know what I mean? Like a fucking
Stop. Listen, Lauren, this is
Talk to me.
Amanda
Talk
got
to me.
y'all.
Lauren.
Nah,
yeah,
I
a
promise
little
you,
bit.
I was
The
being
thing
completely
is-
objective. I
The
promise
thing
you.
is, you guys keep cutting her slack.
Right.
You keep saying, like, in the same breath that you say Shannon was being combative. You also say, I can see how she was hard to work with.
Because-
so where's the inverse to where it's like you kind of see from Shannon's perspective what's going on here?
Because
we do media, nigga.
Because look here, I think everybody else's perspective got y'all. I think y'all are thinking about everybody else who said that she's hard to work with, and that shit made you look at the interview
Bro,
a certain way.
at the
I'm
end of
trying
the
to
day-
sit down.
at the end
I'm
of the
trying
day-
to sit down and literally just trying to take it completely fresh. Like I'm just like, okay, how is this? Because I'm feeling the cringe of the moment, and I'm like,
And
what
Lauren-
started this
but
moment?
Lauren, real quick,
I
real
went
quick,
back
real
because I'm
quick.
like, what started this moment? Why is there
And
cringe
y'all
here?
forgetting
But
you
real
feel me?
quick, Lauren, you in the same breath that you say she's hard to work with, you just leave it at that. You get what I'm saying?
right.
It doesn't ever go past.
Because what I'm gonna say about her being hard to work with is I could see it being like she makes it hard for herself now after she's combated with certain things that realistically being
Oh my
combated.
God.
Realistically being combated. No.
Ain't the
Wait,
no,
you're not
because-
nigga, you're not letting me
Yo,
finish.
let him
You're not
talk,
letting
my
me
I'm gonna
nigga.
let you finish.
Yo, Tony, my nigga,
No,
my nigga.
what you're doing-
I
what
lost
you're
it.
doing-
Chill.
I lost
You
it,
just
bro.
literally
I
interrupted me.
literally
You
lost
just
it. I don't
literally
even have it. It
interrupted
don't
me,
matter,
my
bro.
nigga.
I lost it. I don't got it
Bro,
no more. It
because
don't even
think
matter,
about
bro.
Aja. Did you hear what he just said?
No,
Like,
I
I
didn't
never
hear
heard
that. Nigga,
niggas
you-
cop so many pleas
Nigga,
for a person.
you didn't hear
Like,
what I said,
she-
nigga. I didn't finish. You didn't hear what I said.
That's what
I
I'm
didn't
saying.
finish,
Tony,
nigga.
Tony,
The fuck?
my nigga, you
Shout
didn't
out
let
to
him
black
finish.
women.
Nigga, what
You
you
didn't
talking
let him
about?
finish, and now you're doing. Come on, dog.
Nah.
But seriously, on a real note, like we said, right? I started this off with saying they are both in the wrong. They are both
said
in the
the
wrong.
same shit.
But at the same time, right? It's
But you're
I'm
putting
not-
more blame on one person.
you have to give her
That's
grace. You have
literally
to
what
give.
they're doing.
No, you
That-
have to. I'm giving her the most grace because as the interviewer, it's your job to know your guests, to kind of feel the vibe of the room and not create a problem like this.
I'm glad you
And
s- go
also,
ahead. The vibe of the room.
back to her, like, being difficult to work with. She's slow. And then what did I say? We have to give her grace.
Yeah.
Not
I don't have to give her grace.
No, you don't.
I don't
She's
like
a
nobody.
grown- she's an adult.
Everybody cutting Shannon slack. I
And
I
on top
kinda
of
don't
that,
like
and
That's
on
what
top-
I'm saying.
And
Like,
on top of that,
everybody
you were
is just-
saying you have to feel the vibe in the room. The vibe in the room, which we learned on this podcast,
Yeah.
is that she wouldn't shake his hand or give him a hug on entry.
She wouldn't shake his hand?
That
Who-
didn't. shaking my hand.
Who's being combative?
Bro, off the rip, we haven't even
like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
We saw them formally shake hands and hug an hour and a half into the 3-hour podcast, or 2 hours into the 3-hour podcast.
Y'all look crazy. Lauren was just about to say, man, she was a woman. She was on a menstrual cycle. She was going through an emotional
I don't even
period
want to
of
hear none of them
time.
goddamn jokes, nigga. You ain't give me no
You
chance to
just go
speak,
through
so you
emotional-
shut that shit up.
You didn't give him a chance to speak. That was rude.
nigga.
That was
So I
rude.
don't
But
even want
you
to hear.
heard what I heard, and I heard
No,
a
you
bunch
didn't
of
hear
clapping,
anything. I didn't
please.
finish. I didn't finish nothing.
You don't even give AJ grace like
Nigga,
that.
I didn't finish nothing. Nigga, I didn't finish anything. Nigga, I don't want to hear it. I didn't finish nothing. You can move on from
crazy.
that.
That was rude, and I feel like you should apologize. That was
finish
rude.
it.
He had a
What?
point.
I apologize.
I ain't never seen y'all team.
He had a
I've
point.
never seen that, bro. That's honestly the grossest shit that's ever happened.
He had a point.
That's the
Y'all
grossest
right,
shit that's ever happened.
y'all right
Y'all
now.
are crazy.
No,
Yeah,
No,
no.
y'all
I'm
right
the
now.
whole lover.
No, look,
And
look.
I'm the whole lover.
Whatever, nigga.
But look how you are.
Tone. This moment right now is when we play 2-on-2, and they both put jerseys on.
They
Yeah,
both got
whatever,
that great
dog.
takes on, nigga.
Whatever,
That's
nigga.
what
Nigga
just
said-
happened.
Nah.
Realistically, Tone, I had a point I was getting to, and I can't even. What was the question you asked me, AJ? Because I'm trying
Bro.
to see if I remember this.
And
Cause no, I don't want to hear from you
hold
right
on,
now.
I'm about to apologize. God damn, nigga. But
look how you're-
But actually,
look how you're yelling
I stepped
at him.
on you, so you step on my apology. You just won't get it. That's the nigga. I'll keep your shit. That's fair.
That's
And
fair. That's fair.
Let me bring up.
But
I
no
was
real
trying to-
shit.
I
I
was
will
just-
apologize for stepping on it.
It's cool.
But I
It's
couldn't
cool.
hear it
It's
because you were about to cop so many bullshit pleas.
It was-
that I
See,
was
that's
about
what I'm talking
to-
about.
I was
What
about to
do you
throw
mean, bro? You
No,
can't come with
Just-
an apology
no,
and do that.
Listen, I saw your setup. I
Nigga,
can see the
you didn't know
punchline.
where I was
the
going.
punchline
It was
is.
about to get disgusting.
Yo,
It was
you
about
don't
to
know
get
where I was
disgusting.
going.
It
Y'all
was
didn't
about to.
honestly-
No, bro.
Wow.
No, bro. You didn't know where I was going. You had no idea where I was
One more thing, and there's another point. There's so many moments where she's out of control, out of pocket. Do y'all remember the LA party? First of all,
It went off the rails afterwards.
In this
Yeah.
3 hour,
Yeah.
off the rails.
It was off the rails the whole time.
No.
There wasn't harmony until an hour and a half into the podcast because they didn't even shake hands until an hour and a half into the podcast.
Bro.
There was no. She had no respect for him going in.
I'm
period.
blaming it on
But
that.
she had zero
Speak-
respect.
you can speak to
then
that.
Then on top of that, it just these stories she's telling. Then she moves over to the 𝚑 story. She starts talking about that Hollywood, that black party. Nigga, they done turned you away at the door 3 fucking times. Take your ass home. Then you keep letting these people tell you, oh no, don't go home. Then you go inside and you're in this building getting escorted out. Nobody protected you. It's like, bitch, they didn't want you there. Why are you in places where nobody wants you at? And then causing a scene and trying to push this story on us like,
Having the audacity to accept protection.
They were so rude to me, and they had two big white men. They try to tell you 3 times before you even actually got in the building.
Literally.
You're not welcome here.
It's sad.
Go home. Niggas, look, just because it's a black party, niggas don't like niggas either. So, bruh, you only have to tell me half a time I'm not invited.
Facts.
I'll never come back. I'll never
Of
fuck
course.
with you again.
Nigga, it is that easy.
It's half of a time.
true.
And it's
That's facts.
So
honestly,
you
Facts.
went all the way in there.
facts.
You got turned away 2 to 3 times,
facts.
went in there, and then had the nerve to have a last stand to where nigga security had to get the fuck
That's
out of here.
facts.
We don't care
Facts.
about the
Nah.
protection at this point.
Nah.
You doing this to yourself. We
and
don't
that's,
care, bro.
and that's the
Facts.
buzzword right there. And that's the shit that Monique does that I really don't like.
Yeah, man, either.
'Cause
Yeah.
obviously, right, we love black women. Like, this is a real moment.
No, yeah,
we
for real, yeah.
obviously love black women. We all came from black women.
That's not the conversation.
Stop talking. We want to protect black women. But what some black women do is hide behind that guise of, we're the most underappreciated, underdeserved.
most disrespected,
A lot of that
yeah.
is true. But some of these women are hiding under it to just hide their bullshit.
Yeah.
And it gets niggas passionate.
No, it's not even that,
And
bro.
on top of that, let's talk about her behavior post-interview.
Mm-hmm.
Not only were you rude the entire 3 hours and just use this as a ranting session to not combat the whole likability thing, then you start slamming this nigga on social media. Afterwards, you in your bed, hair fucked up, just like, what are you doing right now,
And
bro?
what did Shannon do? Shannon went on Nightcap with Gilbert Arenas and Shannon 𝙁𝙃.
yeah.
Which, real quick side note, that shit is funny as fuck.
That combination,
I feel like
is like that.
I feel like it's Shannon Sharpe's like ego, super ego, and id just all in
Bro,
one thing.
they're
that's
so
great.
perfect for him
That's
because
all it is.
Because it's like, bro, they're really perfect. Because we know everybody has to play the game, and Shannon, you that nigga, don't say none of this, but you facilitate us. We're gonna speak for you.
Yeah.
That like all of them equal his voice.
It's just it's all
perfect.
his psychology.
It's perfect.
But on there, he went on and he was still graceful about it. He was like, I know what I did. Got to do this right. We'll do it. Just look at how they're acting after the fact.
But you hear that though? He said he know what he did, but I don't even want to talk about that.
I never said nobody was wrong. But
here's the thing. Like both of them were in the wrong, right? And I agree that as after the initial hiccup, it went off the rails. It was egregious. She was doing all that shit. I agree with everything y'all just said. I just don't like how y'all can't separate all of that from the initial moment. Like the initial moment,
let's watch
the initial moment. We can kind of say some of that was on Shannon. The initial. That's my only argument. That's my only argument. The rest of it being like her. That's why I said afterwards I was like, she kind of hard to work with because of how she does things after the fact.
And,
you know what I'm saying? How she does things after the fact is what I think makes her hard to work with.
And
you know
I feel like the initial moment is when she didn't greet him properly.
And that
we didn't even see that on camera.
We don't know what that looks like.
We don't know what that looks like. That's true.
But that's now the initial moment.
We don't know what that looks like.
Which makes her wrong first.
Yeah.
But also, like we've all been around some girls that were a little slow. We know how they act in social settings, my nigga.
Please,
like, let's just play.
Please.
I went from shit went left after this moment. That's the clip I clicked on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. This is 17 minutes.
17 minutes in.
Yeah. Let's just save 1740. Let's go to the beginning.
Okay.
She is a young person. Do you know how disgusting that is? And that your hornball.
Get past the
I forgot he's got that
music and shit.
I don't know how he got that Nipsey clearance. I doubt we do.
Right. No.
They're gonna call us hard to work with.
Right.
Shay, I am your host, Shannon Sharpe. I'm also the proprietor of Club Shay. The lady that's stopping by for conversation on the drink today is a multi-talented, prolific comedian, actress, writer, producer, director, TV host, syndicated radio host, author, podcaster, DJ, rapper, singer, poet, media personality, performer, cultural commentator, content creator, an industry veteran, social media star, NAACP Image Award nominee, hip-hop scholar, entrepreneur, CEO, a philanthropist, an activist, a Renaissance woman. She calls herself a common sense specialist, the people's favorite truth teller or truth translator, as she prefers to call herself. She says what folks are actually thinking. Welcome to the show, Miss Amanda Seales.
You ran it down.
How was that? I mean, so how was the intro? Did I leave out anything?
That was the best intro I've ever had in my life.
You like that?
That was fabulous.
Because you was a little worried. I mean, when you came in, you was like,
Baby,
what?
I wasn't worried.
You was like,
oh, you don't know.
You like you're so formal. Why you
That's
being
not
so
worried. That's me trying to welcome you. That's not me saying. That's not
how
me.
you welcome me in my own house.
No, because I know that I have a lot of energy when I come into a space, and people will be like, "Oh, you know, it's a lot of." So I have been trained over the years to try to make people feel comfortable.
Okay.
So that's what I'd be trying to do.
Well, I like to,
She's been trained over the years to make people feel comfortable.
No. She said, I was trying to welcome you. He said, how can you welcome me in my
house.
space? What are we talking about?
Bro, like,
and
listen,
we can't forget she wouldn't shake or hug him on entry.
Who thinks like that?
What the fuck are we talking about
You
right
get
now?
what I'm saying?
Somebody with autism.
This is bad already.
But and like, Lauren, I apologize again because you
That's
know
all
that
good.
is rude.
You all
But it's
good.
just like you were about to defend that.
Yeah, but I'm not defending this moment.
Say that
But that's the thing.
You can't say that.
That's
That
the
means
thing.
nothing.
You guys are bringing
rude
up.
for you.
You guys are bringing up
Because
things.
Don't
it's
act
rude.
like you don't do that, nigga. We're podcasting.
Yeah,
and
but
it happens.
in
I
the context,
apologize.
Y'all are
of that.
bringing up things that are all valid. I'm not disputing any of these points. I'm talking about a specific moment that we hopefully can find later. You know what I'm saying? There's a moment that I think he needs to be held accountable for.
For sure.
That's what I'm talking about.
And
Why?
and-
Where?
and
Where?
it's-
Okay, because if you didn't greet me when you came in, you wouldn't shake my hand, greet me. You're inviting me onto my own show as you're sitting on my couch. And now I have pushback. At what point was I out of pocket when you've only
for now agreeing to
that's
continue with
what
if you felt so egregious anyway, and now we're doing the content anyway,
like
then we shouldn't have done the content if it's already on this level where I feel as the host so disrespected by my guest that I don't want to.
No.
Interview.
But what did he do?
But what did he do?
He gave her fucking grace.
That's what I'm saying. He gave her. So he can't be wrong if we can watch 2 to 3 moments, and there's probably 1 to 2 moments that happen off camera we didn't see, one within the first 30 seconds of the introduction. Where is he wrong when he's already gotten hit 3 times?
At this point, you came to my shit disrespecting me.
Yeah, how is he wrong?
Okay.
I think I just answered that same thing. I think y'all just asked me the same question a different way. I think I just answered what you said.
Like, what do you mean he's been hit?
No, I get what
3
they're saying. They're
times?
talking about like the thing that we don't see on camera, like her not hugging, all those things in the home.
And the thing we see on camera.
Which sounds very bad without seeing it, but it could have just been like a real, like, you know,
But
cute,
we can also
tried-
ignore that, and we can just see what.
Of course.
She just invited him. The energy is already weird.
He tried to greet her, and she was like, "Why are you being so formal?"
No, that I don't think that's what she said. I think
Is that not what she just said?
I think she
That's
walked.
literally-
I think she walked into a nice ass studio. She's fucking retarded. She was like, she saw. Imagine, bro. Look at the studio. Imagine walking into that shit and being a little bit on the spectrum, right? A big ass nigga trying to come in for her, like, oh, you should, like, come on, dog. I think that's petty. And if Shannon Sharpe is mad, like, bitch.
But hold
bitch
on,
ain't
so
give you a
this
hug,
you think
nigga?
this cringy interaction at the beginning is enough for him to be upset?
I don't think it's.
We're only 2 minutes
It's a
in.
culmination.
We can continue,
hold on.
and it's only going to get worse.
It's the
Right, but
culmination
I'm
of
trying to
everything.
figure out
Because
how much does this hold weight based on what are y'all saying? This
well,
right here.
well, this is the thing. This is we're just at instance 1.
It's just a domino.
It's just a
what
domino.
grace?
That timestamp that I had when that was the moment that she fell completely silent. The pushback that we were initially arguing about, that was
It's 107.
17 minutes in. So we still have 15 minutes of her being weird and doing possibly disrespectful things, which she was doing.
But, well,
disrespectful things.
for not for nothing, it kind of went okay. From this beginning up to
Can I
that
say
turning
something real
point,
quick?
there was a middle point where it was fine.
Can I say something real quick?
Nothing
What
was
type
fine
of-
for the first hour and a half.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
AJ,
There was a
for
middle
the
point
first
for like 10
20
minutes
to
where it was
30
fine.
I think another
10
big
minutes out of
caveat.
3.
How? When at
Wait,
17
look, hold on,
minutes, they were combative.
Hold on, I think
10 minutes is
another
within
big caveat, right? She is a comic, right?
Oh my God.
Oh, all right. Oh my God.
You know he hates comedians.
I know,
keep going.
but I'm like,
Just
come
keep
on,
going,
dog.
just keep
Okay,
going,
so
just
look,
keep going.
she is a comic, and to your point, I'm gonna be honest. Was this the most weirdest interaction for Shannon Sharpe's history of interviewers? Probably, but for about 20, 30 minutes, it was pretty fucking normal. It was just like it was normal enough until the turning point. Until
17 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah, that's why I said 10 minutes. There was like 10 minutes of normalcy.
And we
then it
keep
went into-
saying like
20 minutes
10
is a
minutes,
long-ass
17
time.
minutes, 30 minutes. This is a 3-hour interview.
That's what I'm saying. It's
And we
out of
had,
control.
let's say the
Hold on.
longest.
She's out of
30
control. Hold on.
minutes
I
to
think there's a
cover-
confusion.
I think there was a confusion, bro.
Look,
I think
I'm
they're
not
confused about what
saying
we're saying, bro.
we should blame one particular person.
Yes.
I am.
And I don't want to argue that because there's no place for me to argue that because I think they're both to blame. And that's fine.
That's my thought process
You know what
as
I'm
well.
saying? But I just don't.
I think they're both
That's
to blame
crazy.
too.
You
They're
know what I
both wrong. We've been on this
think
for a
they're
minute. They're both wrong. One of them tried. One of them tried to extend grace. One of them tried to be reasonable. One did not.
Yeah.
One doubled down.
I want to find that moment because that's the moment where I don't think he tried. Because I think he.
It's at 17:30.
Yeah,
It's at
okay, let's go to it.
17:40.
Yeah.
Go to like 7. Go to look like 20 seconds back like that. Yeah.
in the 90s. And
But let me ask you this.
okay.
Do you think she would have felt equally as offended if a white kid, because I'm assuming this teacher was white, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a white
I think
would,
we need to go back before this when she was setting it up.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So we got to give her the proper moment of telling her story. And shit.
That's true.
Yeah, because-
If we're gonna give the full context and we're gonna talk
AJ,
about it.
don't you fucking smirk like that.
We
What's wrong
can't-
with you,
Nah,
man?
it's just
Let's
funny
be
that-
fair, nigga.
No,
we
it
gotta
is
be
funny.
fair,
It
nigga.
is funny that we are coddling this grown woman.
I'm not even
baby.
trying to coddle. I'm literally just trying to be objective about it.
Y'all
Like,
niggas got some nice
Was
shoulders.
my
to cry
mom
on.
and Miss.
I think it's right here.
It's interesting because Amanda has some complaints about you. And so they came to the meeting. It was my mom and Mr. Wright and Miss Cersei. It's all black people at Dr. Phillips High School in Orlando, Florida. And this lady sat there and actually you and Mr. Wright had the same build. And Mr. Wright was like, all right, so, we're here to discuss Amanda disrupting the class with her talking. And she was like, no, Amanda doesn't disrupt the class with her talking. She actually helps the other students out. He's like, oh, okay. So is it about her grades? And she's like, actually, no. One of her art pieces is featured in our exhibit at the library. And he's like, so what are we here for? And she's like, well, she corrects me in front of the class. And these three black people are like, here we go with this racist bullshit, because that's really what it is. We're in Florida in the 80s and the 90s. And
but let me ask you this.
okay.
Do you think she would have felt equally as offended if a white kid, because I'm assuming this teacher was white, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a white child would have corrected her, I think most teachers would feel some type of way if a child.
No. Keep going.
I was
Okay.
but I'm gonna be honest.
Keep going,
She's
keep
not
going,
setting this
keep
up
going.
like how y'all presented it.
No,
He didn't even know the teacher was white.
And on
Keep
top
playing it. Keep playing
You
it.
get what I'm saying?
Lauren, keep playing
She
it.
said
Lauren,
this
keep
is a
playing
room
it.
full of black
and I
people.
think this is the second instance too, but keep going. We'll keep going.
Let's keep playing.
Corrects them.
That's not for me to surmise. I'm just saying that my experience was this lady giving wrong information.
Yeah.
And I'm allowed to correct her. Now, this is the same lady who tried to accuse me of stealing. And when a white girl said, no, Amanda didn't steal it,
Now,
I did.
pause.
She was like, well, I think.
I just want to say because it just happened.
After.
No. It literally just, so she said her story. He combated with something that honestly had, like, it was something that you would take out to put on IG as a snippet. Like, that was like some old commercial shit. Like, well, what if the teacher was white? Like, what type who cares?
We're having
And
a
then
conversation.
But keep going.
you're having a conversation, but that was a stupid question. And she followed it up with another story of the same quote unquote racist teacher. I don't know.
After.
Doing some more scandalous shit to her.
After.
So, what do you mean after?
Right after. She said the story about her talking down the turn or whatever happened in class. And then she said, this is the same lady that accused me of stealing something. Bro,
because
before that, he said, do you think it was really just, was it racist, or do you think it was just a child correcting a student? And she said, that's not for me to surmise. So you have closed the open communication off.
So let me talk, right?
The discourse.
Of course, and was that rude? Yes, there was a better way she could have done that.
This is crazy.
No, let me talk.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Oh my God.
Ain't nobody say nothing. Hey,
Jesus Christ.
This is a safe space.
Oh my God. But look, damn, it happened to me.
Well, I just want to keep playing it. I just want to keep playing it because it's not even finished. I want to keep playing.
But and then after he said that, she doubled down on the fact that no, this is my life. I've been through multiple situations like this. And then she answered that question with another story of just like, no, this is the same teacher. I've had this happen to me a couple times, Shannon. Like, I'm not just talking out my ass because I know that's what you heard. You get what I mean? Like, it's not.
He asked her a follow-up question about her life, about an incident that happened in her life.
Was it a stupid question?
No, it's not. It's not that dumb of a question. Because think about this. I've been through what she's been through. I've gotten in trouble for debating with my debate teacher. Because I was being a belligerent nigga in class. Right. I'm not saying that's what she was doing, but I understand the perspective of like
she also
a
said
student can disrespect a teacher from being overzealous. Because I was that guy.
And she also said, I have the right to correct you as a child.
Literally. And
I have the right to correct you.
And
he's just trying to ask, do you think children have the right to correct teachers? Because I feel like all of us grew up in households where we weren't allowed to just correct our parents or elderly people.
It's adults talking.
Literally,
it doesn't matter if you're right.
But that's not
that's
not for her. But that's not for her to surmise, though.
Exactly.
And I have the right.
That question. The thing is, it's not for her to surmise because it goes against whatever narrative she would like to persuade. It's like that's all.
But see, that's the thing I'm talking about right now. And this is, I still wanted to play the whole thing through, just so y'all know. But because I still haven't done that. But what I'm saying, even with what we're talking about right now, she like, Tone, if you had an experience that happened to you in your past and you knew it was some racist shit that happened to you, and you're like, hey, some racist, and somebody just came up and was like, well, do you think it could maybe be this? And you're like, well, I can't say that because this is how it was for me, and this is how it actually was because I know I had this experience with them another time that made me think this time when it came around, oh yeah, it's definitely some racist shit. And I just told you that, double down on it. Now you're gonna come back on me again and be like, well, nah, it probably wasn't that because of this and this and this. Well, I just gave you 2 instances it was that. Why are you combating that point in my life, what I'm telling you about, instead of trying to expand on it further and say, was that the only two instances you had? Are you certain because of this reason? Because, like, why am I trying to say it's not that now instead of just trying to find out what other things you have to say to tie it to be sure? If I want to debunk your theory, I'm going to ask you for all the pieces of your theory, put your theory together for me all the way, and then I can be like,
if that was your purpose.
And then that was your purpose. And then I can debunk it. But I'm not going to try to do that before hearing you all the way out and allowing you to speak your story.
Unless you've heard of some of her, you know.
Unless you heard of something in the past.
That could be potentially true.
Y'all doing more work for her story than she was doing for her
Literally,
own
she
story.
didn't even go this hard for herself,
Yeah,
which
she
is
did.
what's fucking insane.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Neither
right?
did Shannon.
But the thing is, right? What y'all have presented to be true isn't true based on the film. You guys said that she set up by saying
I'm gonna find the clip
that she
myself.
The clip is right here. We're watching it.
I'm gonna
We're
send it to
watching
you.
it because you guys said
I'm
that
gonna send
she
it to
made it clear that her teacher was racist or that there was an
gonna send
incident
it
that
to you.
happened before. The only reason she brought up the stealing event is because he said, could it have gone like this? And then she
Right.
was like, no, it was definitely racism because this happened.
Yes. Yeah.
The
That's
context
literally-
of the story was racism. It's like
But hold on, this is not the. But look. The reason. Hold on. Look.
when the story was brought up, the context of like
There-
talking out of class and a white teacher,
Here's-
usually a black student, white teacher, usually means racism
here's-
when it
She
when
didn't
you,
even
after
say
that
the
equal
teacher
sign.
was white.
She did.
She said it was a room full of black people. Mr. Wright,
kids.
y'all gotta listen.
No, I know what you're saying. She said
He
it
had
after.
to
She said he had to ask.
He had to ask if the teacher was white.
I heard.
What are y'all talking
Because
about?
listen, because this is still not the whole. The reason I want to play it through is because there are two instances that build up in my mind and me say, "Oh, Shannon did this twice." So it's not just on this story. There's another story, and that's why I flipped on the edge. So it happened twice. That's why I say this is not the full clip, and that's why I say I'm gonna send you what I'm talking about because it happened twice, and it was the second time where she was like, what the fuck, nigga?" And that was when I was like, "Oh, you did do that twice. Why are you doing that instead of letting her do her shit?"
Just let her,
And that's
like-
why I was like, and then it started flipping on the edge, and I was like, well, damn, now I'm seeing how she's a fucking problem.
Because-
and then that's
but
where it all fell
her-
into.
But real quick, because we do have to wrap this
been on
segment.
this
We
forever.
do.
We do have to wrap this segment up. My question is for everybody: would you do a one-on-one interview with Amanda Seales after seeing this interview?
Yes,
I would, yes.
Yes.
I would.
Yes, yes.
They have
Yes.
to say yes because we just argued for 40 minutes.
But you see how he didn't answer the question. He tried to answer the question.
My answer is obvious. Why would I do this?
Okay.
Why would I
Yeah,
do this?
my answer
But
is no.
y'all have to say yes to make that last 40
No,
minutes.
no.
Don't
Why
have
don't
to
you have to say
make
yes?
That's
No.
what-
Well, just say yes. You don't have to do all
And
the
that's
extra
why you
shit.
have to say no because of everything you said. Like what are you
Honestly,
talking about?
and if I did do it, I might pull a Joe Budden and do it and never put it out.
Yep. Just play with it. Fuck
Just
it.
AJ,
just off the
if
thrills.
you was to talk to Amanda, you would try to bang her, and I know it, nigga. You would try to bang her, nigga.
Okay, now
You would try to bang her, nigga.
He's going low.
Yeah, he's
but
reaching.
when they go low, we go high.
this is
nigga.
your partner.
You would try to bang her. I've seen you in public settings. I've seen you in public settings, nigga.
What are you talking about?
This shit nasty. This shit
What are you talking
nasty.
Getting
about?
nasty.
This shit is-
Getting
I can't
nasty.
believe
you just went there.
what just
Yeah.
happened.
I did.
What we just went through.
I don't worry. I'm gonna send it in the group chat when I'm gonna go back through the film and I'm gonna send you the two instances I'm talking about.
We know you are because you protect black women and we're
Yeah.
proud of you.
It's gonna be a waste of time, man.
All right, but let's move over to this.